Welcome back to One Up Racing. It has been a very long time I've had to stand in this garage like this within its current state of disrepair, mess, unorganisedness, and if I'm honest with you, not ideal at all for somebody who's trying to push their YouTube channel and also just enjoy working on their cars. So at long last, I am biting the bullet, and what we're doing is a complete and absolute garage overhaul. We're taking it all out. We're painting walls, painting floors, painting ceilings, putting in new racking, new clever storage ideas in the hope that I can finally turn my very slightly bigger than normal garage into a usable workspace that I don't have to constantly trip and move and struggle with everything that I'm doing. And I've got a few nice little touches at the same time. So stick with me on what is going to be a beautiful end result, but a bit of a pain task while we do it. So wish me luck. Now, before we get cracking on the inside, obviously I need to make sure the outside of this wall is actually pretty good. Now, I don't know if any of you have ever seen in the videos where sometimes if it rains really heavily, the inside of the walls basically like weep. It looks like my garage is crying, which I'll be honest with you, I don't blame it for sometimes. So last time I just used some of this Ron Seal, I know it's Thompson's, I apologise, water seal on the walls. You can use it on wood, bricks, all kinds of things. You just got to basically just throw it on there as thick as you can. Soaks into all like the mortar and stuff between all the cement and pointing and stuff on there. Seems to do a really good job. I did it a couple of years ago and it's only just started kicking back in. So I've done that and it'll be dry in a couple of hours. So now that's one done, back inside. Now what's step one? Let's take everything out of the garage and put it in my garden. Whew. Well, all of this is not going to plan. I've got to be honest with you. I've been let down by a few things now, cancellations, all kinds of things, which means that the Ignis is still sat in my garage, which means I still can't get it out of the way and do the full garage refurb like I was hoping. So we're having to have a bit of a rethink. So while I've booked things back in for MOTs, arranged some storage for the car for a little bit while I get everything sorted out, I'm basically going to start doing the garage in chunks. So you won't necessarily notice much difference other than my time lapse won't just be me doing everything in one big go. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to push the Ignis outside, move stuff to one side, paint all the walls and everything this side, then move it out of the way, paint the walls and everything on this side. Then I'll do the ceiling, and then what I'll do then is once everything's in a better position, all my cars have got MOTs again, so I can park them on the street, I can move all my stuff into my garden, paint the floor. So not ideal. I'd much rather get it all out of the way and do it all in one day, but sometimes life will throw you curveballs, which is why you haven't seen me doing very many videos in 2025, because things keep on going wrong and it's not my fault. Either way, let's talk in, car outside, stuff out of the way, paint a wall. Right, that's one wall cleared. I've obviously swept the floor and stuff as well, just so when I get near the floor it doesn't get all too bitty. It's not until you actually see it with nothing in the way you realise how disgusting this wall looks. And this is obviously why I sealed it the other side, so that it stopped actually weeping water through to this side. So I'm just going to move a couple of wires out of the way. We're going to get this side painted. Like an idiot, I've packed away my tripod. I can't find it, so if you notice I'm having some slightly weird camera angles, then it's all my fault for packing all my stuff away and now not being able to find anything. So either way, we'll set it up best I can. We'll get painting, hope to God that it looks all right. Right, that's all the cutting in done with the brush. Anybody who's watching that time lapse thinking I was doing a whole wall with the brush, don't worry, I'm busting the roller out soon. Now, like it or not like it, I've decided I quite like having just the pillars, and just these end bits with a bit of brickwork just to break it up a little bit. Anywhere you see where I've got it on the brickwork where I didn't want it, don't worry, I'll wire brush that off after. And obviously it doesn't matter too much on the floor because that's getting painted grey. So I've got a little bit more touching up to do there. Time to bust out the rollers. One side done, and hopefully you agree that it looks way better as much as I do, but we are nowhere near finished yet. So now I need to Switch on to this side now. You will notice that the Fiat's in the background now instead of the Ignis. It's a long story. That'll come clear over the next couple of videos when I do something separate with them, but I don't want to talk about it now. But either way, so what I've basically been doing, if I flip the camera around, is working really hard without looking like I've been working hard at all. Right, I've moved the Fiat out of the way just to make this a little bit easier. Like I said, it may not be immediately obvious, but I promise I've been sorting all of my stuff into all its various places, taking all this racking down because I've got all that boxed up and I've got rid of other tools I didn't need. So hopefully it'll make it a lot easier for me to take all of this stuff and move it onto this side so we can paint this wall. Now it's a big wall, so it's going to take some effort, but I feel like because it is such a big wall, because we're moving so much stuff, this is going to have a massive impact. Now, you can let me know what you think, but I'm trying something a little bit new to try and get stuff as flat to the wall as possible, because this used to be in two big crates, obviously sticks out quite far. All my specialist fluids, all my like oils and silicone sprays and undercoats and all that kind of stuff, and my aerosols and things like that. There's an old pallet that I've modified and sprayed it up. I've got my lower ramp on there as well for getting lowered cars onto, and I'm going to try and bolt other things onto the side of these. I'm going to have my jack mounted to the wall, all that kind of stuff. But obviously that's a little bit further ahead because we've still got lots to be cracking on with. Bust out the old clothes, time to bust out the old roller, stick some music on. Let's get this done. Okay, not ideal, because obviously now I've got loads of stuff in the way, but this is how we're going to have to do it. So a couple more bits down there, and I'm just going to sweep up all along the floor, just so when I cut this sort of bottom part in, I don't get loads of dust on there. Give it a quick brush down with a brush, and then the same as before. Brush to get in all the little holes and bits that the roller won't get into, roller the rest, then we can put it all back against the wall until we get the new workbenches figured out. Sweep, sweep, sweep. Doop, doop, doop. Now that was a significantly bigger job because it's way bigger than this side. Now I actually think that I might, when I paint the floor, I might actually paint this bottom row of bricks grey as well, just to kind of knock it up into the wall. So I've not gone all the way to the bottom, but otherwise we are done. Now as far as painting the floor, I'm a little bit stuck because obviously once you paint the floor, you can't use it for a few days. You certainly can't drive a car on it. In fact, I think normally it's best to put down like a kind of carpet or something to drive on because the rubber pulls it off the floor. So now I need to decide the best way to go because I need to do my new racking. I've got a new workbench that I'm building. Thankfully, I've got some new large piece of solid wood for the top. And that's all going to change the entire layout of the garage. But my problem is just knowing the order to do it in. Because I don't want to leave stuff outside for too long because you never know with British weather, even though it's beautiful outside at the moment. So I'm going to sit with a tea. I'm going to think about my life decisions. And then I'll come back and tell you what we're going to do. We got to paint the roof as well. Okay, I think I got it. So I'm going to move all of this stuff down there as far as I possibly can. Probably about 3/4 of my garage then will be free. I'm then going to hoover and attempt to scrub any little oily bits with probably not much success, but try and get as much of this stuff off the floor as I possibly can. And then I'm going to paint this 3/4, leave it a few days till it's at least dry enough to walk on it and stuff. Then I'm going to move stuff down, probably put a blanket down or something. If we mark it, no big deal, I can touch up on that. And then we'll paint from sort of like this little bit up after that, which again, just only needs a couple of days to dry. Now, the main thing to point out is I'm not painting the floor under the workbenches. There's no point, I'm not going to see it. It's way more hassle to move this bench and all this stuff up here than I need. And this is where the brand new workbench is going to go all the way to the far wall rather than this tiny little one. So if you just want to bear with me for a moment while I do the old YouTube magic, I'm not going to flip my fingers, I'm not that kind of person. I'm going to stick it all down there and then we'll grab my handy broom, which I'm going to stick a roller onto the end of and roller the floor. Let's see how this goes. There we have it, one lot of mess, moved from one end of the garage to the other. How interesting. But this is a more interesting bit. So this is the areas we're gonna have to concentrate on here where it's been leaking oil. That's actually quite a recent oil leak, which I may have mentioned in this video or potentially another one, but let's not go into that now. So I'm gonna bust out the hoover, get as much dust off this floor as I possibly can, wire brush off some of this oil, and fingers crossed, it actually takes to the floor. But if that wasn't a good enough cliffhanger to leave you on for the next episode, mostly because I feel like I've been leaving you way too long between episodes at the moment because of the delays I keep on mentioning, not that I'm bitter at all. So I'm going to leave it here. In the next episode, we're going to paint the floor, hopefully paint this end as well. Then we'll look to paint the ceiling. Then I'm going to show you my new racking and my new workbenches. Fingers crossed, all in one episode for the next one. In the meantime, there's hopefully some more videos coming out on the other cars, because I feel like I'm finally getting somewhere. So thank you for sticking with me through these couple of months of a little bit of inactivity as far as the channel is concerned. Please make sure you stay in tuned, subscribe if you're not already, and come back and see me soon for some more garage antics.